The whistle of the kettle cuts through the quiet of my apartment. It's 5:47 p.m. on a Tuesday in late October. Outside, the light is that faded blue-gray shade, the kind that comes just before the streetlights buzz on. A cold front rolled through last night, and a damp wind is rattling the old window frames. I can see the last of the brown leaves on the courtyard maple being torn away in gusts. My apartment is fine, nothing special. It's a one-bedroom on the 6th floor. The walls are that landlord beige, the carpet's a practical gray. I've got my couch, my overloaded bookshelf, and this big window. That's the main thing. I pour the hot water over the tea bag in my favorite chipped mug and walk over to it, my socks quiet on the carpet. The courtyard below is a concrete square with that one sad tree and a few benches. Directly across from me, Building B rises up, a perfect mirror of my own. I know the patterns by heart now. Apartment 1A has all the indoor plants. 3C flies the sports team flags. My view is just a grid of little, ordinary lives. I sink into the armchair I've pulled right up to the glass, cradling the warm mug. The steam fogs a little circle on the cold pane. This is my ritual, this slow dimming of the world. I watch the windows over there light up one by one as people get home. Yellow squares of life appear, a man stretching, someone cooking, the blue flicker of a TV. But on the 4th floor, one window stays stubbornly dark. Apartment 4B, always dark, has been since I moved in 2 years ago. I figured it was just vacant, no big deal. Until last week. It started last Thursday. Same kind of weather, this same cold twilight. My eyes just scanning the grid, they stuck. In the perfect black of 4B's window, there was a shape, a silhouette. With the last of the city glow behind it, I could make out a head and shoulders. It was too small for an adult. The head was just a pale, featureless oval in the darkness. It was just there, staring out, not moving a muscle. I blinked, leaned forward, wiped the fog off the glass. It was still there. I sat frozen until my tea went cold. When I finally clicked my lamp on, breaking my own reflection, the shape was gone, swallowed up by the total blackness over there. The next evening, Friday, I was at the window 10 minutes early. My heart was doing this low, nervous drumbeat. As the blue hour deepened, it appeared again. Same spot, same impossible stillness. This time I didn't look away. I watched for a full hour. It never shifted an inch. No lights came on behind it. The windows next to it, 4A and 4C, they glowed with normal evening stuff, but 4B was a cold, dark hole, and this figure was right in the center of it. A slow, creeping dread started right in my gut. This wasn't a person. People fidget, they check their phones, they leave the room. This was a statue, a sentinel. By Sunday, I couldn't take it. I went downstairs, out into the biting wind, and crossed the courtyard. The entrance to Building B had a broken lock just like ours. The lobby smelled like wet concrete and old mail. I took the stairs to the 4th floor, my footsteps way too loud on the tile. The door to 4B had dust on the handle. I knocked and the sound was hollow. No answer. I tried the knob. It turned easy in my hand. The door swung inward with a groan. The air that came out was stale and freezing cold, and it smelled thick with dust. I pulled out my phone and tapped the flashlight on. The beam cut through nothing. The place was completely empty. No furniture, no boxes, just bare, dusty floors and walls where the wallpaper was peeling off in strips. My light shook a little as I swept it across the living room. Thick, gray dust covered everything, perfectly smooth except for the trail my own shoes made from the door. I moved quietly, the silence pressing in on my ears. The kitchen was just empty. Old cabinets. A short hallway led to 2 more doors. The first was a bathroom, the toilet bowl dry and ugly. The second door was slightly open. I pushed it. This room wasn't totally empty. Sitting right in front of the big window, my window was a small wooden school desk. A simple old chair was pulled up to it. Not tucked in, but at an angle, like someone had just stood up. My throat went dry. This was the spot. This was the exact line of sight. I shuffled forward, my breath making clouds in the frigid air. The desk's surface was covered in that same, even dust. Pristine, untouched for years, it looked like. I leaned in close, the beam of my light shining straight down on it, and I saw it. Right in the center of the dust, words were written, not carved, but drawn. Like with a fingertip, the lines were smooth and clear, the dust pushed into little ridges around them. The message was fresh. It couldn't have been more than a few hours old. I see you. The words hit me in the chest. The cold in the room suddenly felt alive, soaking right through my jacket. I stumbled back, my shoulder hitting the doorframe. A scream got stuck in my throat. I turned and ran, my feet slipping in my own dusty footprints, through the dark living room, out into the hall. I yanked the apartment door shut behind me, the sound cracking like a gunshot in the stairwell, and I almost knocked over an old woman. She was fiddling with her keys at the next door over, 4A. She jumped, fumbling, her eyes wide with alarm as she looked at my pale face and the dust all over my clothes. The listing agent said that one was still empty, she said, her voice thin and suspicious. She stepped back into her own doorway, putting it between us. I should call someone. Wrong floor, I choked out, the lie tasting like dirt. I didn't wait. I took the stairs 2 at a time, feeling her eyes on my back the whole way down. For a whole week, I didn't sit by the window. I drank my tea at the kitchen table, but the need to look was a physical itch. When I finally looked again, the window of 4B was just a dark, empty square. No silhouette, just nothing. I almost convinced myself I'd imagined the whole thing. Almost. That was a year ago. Tonight, the wind is howling again. I'm back in my chair, the tea steaming in my hands. The ritual calms me somehow. My eyes track over the grid of Building B out of habit, landing on the 4th floor. But 4B isn't dark anymore. Warm, yellow light is spilling from its windows. I can see a little potted fern on the sill, a bookshelf against the wall. A man in a sweater walks by the window, laughing, talking to someone I can't see. A kid's drawing is taped to the glass. A new family. They moved into the empty shell. I take a slow sip of tea, the warmth not touching the colder chill that settled deep in my bones. They have no idea. They laugh and cook and live in that space. They've probably put a bed or a dresser right where that little desk was. Do I tell them? Do I walk over, ring the bell, and wreck their peace with my story about a message in the dust and a silent watcher? They'd think I was crazy. Or worse, they'd believe me and I'd have planted my nightmare right in the middle of their home, their safe place. So I don't move, I just sit and I watch their lit window, this new, happy square in the grid. I watch the man, the flicker of their TV, the shadow of that little fern, and I wait for the day one of them, maybe that guy, getting up for a glass of water in the middle of the night, glances toward that window from the inside and feels for just a second a pair of eyes watching back from the deep, cold dark of the courtyard. Eyes that were there long before they ever showed up. Some windows you just shouldn't stare into for too long. And some you really, really shouldn't let stare back into you.